Political correctness. I don't really think politically correct or political correctness means anything anymore. And I don't know that it ever actually did mean anything. When I think of political correctness, I think of two situations in which it's used. First, as a use of a form of correction, as in when somebody makes a joke or statement and the response is, "That's so not politically correct." And to the other way that I see political correctness often used is in the negative. And by that I mean people who see being politically correct or political correctness as a form of control, as though there's this great conspiracy of political correctness hovering over the world that's going to take everything over and erase all freedoms, and nobody's going to be able to do what they want to do or say what they want to say. There's a lot of other meanings, of course, for what political correctness is, and everybody interprets it differently. They have their own point of views on what it means and what it represents, and therefore it doesn't really have any meaning over the broad spectrum. My take on politically correct is this. Forget the word. Just wipe political correctness and politically correct and those terms from the vocabulary. Just get rid of them because, like I said, they don't mean anything. Instead, what I suggest we all do is use our brains because they're there in our skulls, sitting on top of our shoulders. I think it's important to think about things. For example, in books and movies and video games and popular culture, it's a good thing to actually think about what they represent and what they're saying. As much as I enjoy entertainment for entertainment's sake, and I laugh at South Park, and I laugh at all kinds of comedy that some people might find offensive, I also think it's important to think about what these things are trying to say, to point out where racism and homophobia and sexism are in the world. Discussing and talking about and thinking about these kind of things is important because by doing so, by bringing them to light, we have the power to diminish them. And the thing about these kind of discussions is that you're always going to run into something that makes you uncomfortable, that makes you feel offended, that makes you want to react in an angry or brutal way. And that's understandable. So therefore, just as important it is to think about things outside of ourselves, it's important to think about what's going on inside of ourselves. Think about when you're reacting to something with a gut reaction. As important as gut reactions are, think about why you're reacting. When I read something or see a movie or something, I always try to question myself in the sense of, am I offended by this because it's actually offensive or because somebody else told me it was offensive? Am I reacting this way to a comment or to a concept because that person's actually insulting me, or because it makes me nervous because accepting their idea of truth shakes up my world a little bit, shakes up my perception, shakes up my concept? I know it's easy to react to something when your ideas of the world get shaken, that it's easy to react with anger and fear and upset. But if you take a deep breath and actually allow yourself to think about it a little more, to see the little bit of the truth in an opposing concept, then it opens you up to this whole other possibilities, and it's actually really incredible when you allow yourself to open up in that way. Or at least that's just my experience of things. And for the record, I'm not saying that you should specifically open up to my ideas, but to new ideas in general. So yeah, I don't know if everything I just said made sense to everybody or if it was a confusing mess, but basically it's this. Forget the categories or the labels that we like to use, like political correctness, terms like that, which don't have any meaning. And in replace of those terms, think about things more. Use your brains. Our brains are in our skulls for a reason. They're not just food for zombies. Oh, and have fun with it too, because thinking is fun. At least I think it's fun. Anyways, I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you're loving life. Have a good night.